Tempted and tried, we're oft made to wonder why it should be thus all the day long, while there are others living about us, never molested, though in the wrong. Farther along we'll know more about it. Farther along we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. Often when death has taken our loved ones, leaving our homes so lone and so drear, then do we wonder why others prosper, living so wicked, year after year. You're listening to That Other Life. I'm your host, Richard Haddad. Farther Along was written by William Buell Stevens. It was the first song that I thought of after hearing about my brother's passing. My brother, his wife, my nephew and my parents were all in Germany when it all happened. And so my dad sent me a message saying that at 4 a.m. today, your brother went to be with the Lord. Remembering the song wasn't the first reaction I had to the news. Actually, the first reaction I had to the news was anger. I was really angry that I had to hear the news and that it had happened. And after a couple of moments of being angry, it dawned on me whom I was angry with. So I broke down and I remembered the song. Farther along, we'll know more about it. Farther along, we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. The song didn't solve my problems. It didn't answer any of my questions, and it didn't make everything okay. Actually, it didn't make anything okay. But it did remind me, and it did wake me up to one really important fact. And that's the first line of verse 4 that says, "Faithful till death, saith our loving master." That's our command. And that's what we're expected to be, faithful till death. And that drove me to pray, Lord, I need your help. In all of this, help me not sin. Help me not be a stumbling block. Help me glorify you, even in this. I don't want to waste my sorrows. And I didn't pray that out of the goodness of my heart, but by His grace. And also because there was this underlying terrifying fear that I would waste the opportunity. I was afraid that in my anger I would lead someone astray. And so I prayed for His help. I prayed for His strength. I prayed for His guidance as to how to act, how to live, how to speak. The questions, though, were still there. And the main question I was asking was why? Why? And I broke that down into two different questions. Why did it happen and why did it have to happen? They're different questions. See, the first one, why did it happen, is really asking, why did God not intervene? And the second part of the question, why did it have to happen? Well, that's asking, was there no other way? So I tried to come up with reasons for it. I tried to answer those questions for myself on behalf of God. Maybe God did it for this reason or for that reason. Maybe I can make everything okay if I think, well, God did it so that in a couple of years this could happen or that could happen. But then I thought of someone like Job. After all that he had suffered, he asked God similar questions that I was asking. And God's response to him was, why do you need to know? I thought to myself, well, would that answer or would that response satisfy me? So I had to think, well, okay, if God doesn't give me that response, why do I need to know? What if God gave me the response of, well, here's a list of reasons, Richard. This is why I took your brother. And I thought, well, if God were to do that, if God were to give me all those reasons, I'm still going to ask Him, well, was there no other way? Could you not have accomplished all of this without taking my brother? So there was no list, no number of reasons, as countless as they may be, that were ever going to get me to the point where I would say, yeah, that's fine, that's great, yep, that's good you took my brother. No. Even so, even if there were countless reasons, I'd still be asking, well, was there no other way? Could my brother still not have stayed? And so that's when I stopped asking those questions of why, because no answer was going to be enough. And I remembered that, number one, firstly, God doesn't need to justify His actions, nor give reasons for why and how He acts. That's really important. God is God. We shouldn't forget that. But secondly, also remember that God knows that whatever reason would be, whatever reason there was for why he did what he did, or why he allowed, what he allowed, my question wasn't coming out of a real need for a reason. It was coming out of a longing to still have my brother around. I then also reminded myself of this. God is good, God is faithful, God is loving, and God is holy. In my thinking and in my pondering, in all of this, any conclusion that I may reach that contradicts these 4 attributes of God, any explanation that robs God of his nature, cannot be right. And I've got to do away with that. God is good, God is faithful, God is loving, God is holy. Anything that contradicts that, get rid of it. Now, did that solve my problems? No, of course not. But it did set a guideline that I didn't want to stray away from. God is good, God is faithful, God is loving, and God is holy. And if anything contradicts that, then I'm not interested. That may sound irrationally biased, but think about it as a race. You have a goal. Or, not me, let's say someone else. Someone else has a goal. And they're running for that goal. Anything that stops them from reaching that goal is a distraction. If that runner sees someone cheering him, he can't just stop and shake hands with him. Or if he sees someone telling him, hey, go the other way, now it might make him second guess himself for a moment. But if he's been focused on his goal, and if he prepared himself beforehand to know his way, to know where he should be headed, then he doesn't just turn around and say, oh, really? Is it the other way? Okay, let's turn around and turn the other way. I might go to McDonald's or something. But not a proper runner. A runner who is focused on his goal would still go to his goal, would still be focused on his goal. Nothing was going to distract him from it. And that's exactly how I thought about it. If I were to allow anything that would contradict or that would make me second guess God's attributes, then I'd be turning around and running the opposite direction. Now again, does that solve my problem? No, of course not. The sorrow is still there, the heartache is still there. And believe me, the pain of the longing only grows heavier with time. And people will talk. They'll want to give their explanation. Let them. They'll want to throw verses from the Bible at you, even though they're taken so out of context. That's okay, let them. They'll tell you, don't worry, he's gone to heaven. He's in a better place. Really? I'm crying, not because I don't know where he's gone. I'm crying because he is gone. He's in a better place. Of course. Of course he's in a better place. I know that. I know he's gone to heaven. But he's not around. And the longing is just so painful. Now I don't want to extend this too long because I've already taken a lot of your time. But in the coming weeks, I'd really like to discuss how I try to cope with sorrow, what to make out of unanswered prayers, and where do we go from here. We've lost a loved one. What do we do? What can we do? And so if you get anything out of what I said today, especially if you're struggling through sorrow yourself, remember please these guidelines. God is good, God is faithful, God is loving, and God is holy. Any thought, any idea, any conclusion that contradicts any of that, please brush it away. It's only going to make matters worse. Thank you for listening. I'm Richard Haddad, and these have been my thoughts on That Other Life.